Welcome back, beautiful people. Welcome back to Jess Althea's channel. Today we'll be doing a video on the things that you utilize to do your makeup, and today in particular I'm going to be focusing on our brushes. The brushes are a very integral part of the makeup process. You have your brush and you also have the sponges, but today I'll be doing a video on the brushes that I utilize to do my makeup. All right, this set of brushes that I got from Amazon. Amazon is my place. It's my problem area that I shop a little bit too much at. Today the brushes are from BS Mall, and I'll link it down below in the description box. These brushes I got from Amazon probably about 3-4 months ago when my other brushes were wearing out a bit, so I've never used them. So today I'll be utilizing them for the first time. All right, it's a set of 14 brushes, and I do have the paper here, and I'll be going through them as I utilize them. I won't just list them and then go and do my makeup. As I utilize them for my makeup, I'll tell you what they're used for and why they're used for that purpose. Some of them I may veer from the recommended usage because I find them to do better in a certain area. You can do them, utilize them however you choose. If they apply your foundation well, then use them for that. This is just a recommendation. It's not set in stone. All right, so let's get right into the video. All right, so first I have this flat brush, and it is recommended that it is used for your foundation. I, however, will be using this rounded brush. I find that this rounded brush that is recommended to do bronzer is best used for my foundation. It's a little bit more dense, and I find that it applies my foundation, especially my liquid foundation, best. I've already done my skincare. I've applied my sunscreen. I'll be going in with my primer, and then I'll be applying my foundation with that rounded brush. The primer helps, much like when you're painting a wall. The primer helps for your foundation to adhere to the skin surface. It also allows, it also fills in those pores, so it allows for a smoother finish when you apply your foundation. So your primer step is important. Years gone by, I used to skip the primer aspect, but I've found that since I've started using the primer, my foundation adheres a little better. It fills in those fine lines and the pores, and so my foundation has a better finish. All right, today I'll be using this NYX Born to Glow foundation, and I'll be using it with my rounded brush. And let me show you how the finish is, you know, immaculate. I will be mixing this foundation because it's a tad dark with this concealer. It's this NYX HD Studio photogenic foundation, concealer, my apologies. It's a concealer and it's a little bit lighter. So I'm gonna just put a little bit on my face first. And then I'm gonna be applying the foundation just to mix it in to give it a lighter finish because the foundation is a tad dark. All right. So initially I just mix it in, and then I start stippling in. Now, some brushes may be much more expensive. You have your Morphe brushes, your Sigma brushes, but for the beginner, I suggest that you invest in more affordable brushes. This set of brush cost at least $20. I will link it below, like I said before, in the description box, and ensure that you can see the prices. I will link some of the more expensive brushes as well, so you can compare and contrast the prices. I find that these brushes just, I've never really invested in any of those expensive brushes, and I find that these just do a wonderful job, just as much as a good job as the ones that they recommend, the Sigma Morphe brand. Just adding a little bit more for a more full effect. I realized I didn't have my lights on, guys. All right, so here we go. My lights are on. I can see a little bit better in this. Foundation gives a bit of a glow, as the name suggests. So just stipple, dab, 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 dab. Some people go in with their blender sponge afterwards. I'm fine with just my brush. Make sure you come down the neck. All right. So that's my rounded brush for my foundation. Next, I will be going in with this angled brush. It's rounded and it's angled as well, and I'll be using this to apply my bronzer, and then I will show you how I apply my concealer. All right, I'll be using my Physician Formula Baked Bronzer. As you have seen in my other videos, it is the Butter Bronzer, and it is in the shade Endless Summer. Yes. All right. And be careful with this again. It's quite potent. So I just put it on, and then I work it in. Just light strokes, light strokes. And I've used the actual foundation before. I bought it recently based on recommendation from a young lady at work, and it has been wonderful. Saw her with her makeup and I had, what foundation do you use? And she recommended that and the concealer, so I tried it. They're very affordable. I got them off Amazon, but you can find them in your local Walmart or your local beauty supply store. Amazon is just easy for me to get them delivered at home. Sometimes just don't want to be dealing with the public in the stores. That's my excuse. All right, I'm going to be applying concealer at this point. So this nice doe applicator, just a little bit under the eyes, a little bit on my nose, and just a little bit here. And that's enough. I allow for it to dry down just a tad so that it's easily applicable. Now, they recommend that you use this pointy brush for applying the concealer. As you can see, the point is able to get under your eyes easily. However, I use the same brush that I use to apply my foundation. Why, you may ask? Because the foundation concealer comes off a little bit bright, and when I utilize the same brush that I used for my concealer, it helps to just blend it in a little bit more and mixes in with the foundation and doesn't give it that stark bright look that everybody likes. Not every time that is applicable. This is my day-to-day look. If I'm going out for somewhere formal, I will use it a concealer that is more bright, and I'll allow for it to come through. But this is my day-to-day look, so I don't want my concealer to be bright. I just want to just bring my eyes out a little bit more and to conceal some of the fine lines. So I'm going to be using the same brush that I utilized for my liquid foundation. And then you just come up just to give your face some shape. I put it over my eyes as well. It helps with the brightening of the eyelids as well. Just blend, blend, blend it in. That's the ugly face that you make when you blend. Just to bring back the light on your face, the natural light on your face, because when you apply your foundation, guys, you just put it on a blank canvas and your face is just a bit blank. So just you're putting in back some dimensions into your face. When you put your concealer on, you're brightening back up your face, because that's just a natural appearance of your face. All right, and just use the excess around your mouth. And I have these smile lines. They're a bane of my existence, but it does say that I smile a lot. All right. Then I'll be going in with my ear sponge, and for that I use my sponge at this time, and so I'll just blend, tap it off on my hand as per usual, and just go with a tad. And I'd use it on my over the eyes as well, so that when I'm applying and because I'm filming, it takes longer than normal, but if on an everyday basis, this really takes me 10 minutes actually. So yeah. All right, next step, I'll be doing my brows, and I'll be using NYX Professional Makeup Micro Brow Pencil. And I'll again put this shade in the description box that I use, and the link to purchase it. I purchased mine on Amazon. All right, just create tiny strokes. So I just line the under and then just create tiny strokes. Nothing grand, nothing overly. I still use the glue, and I also I interchange them. So I went and finished up my eyebrows off camera, because the mature audience knows I can't see a lick in this camera to do that. It was not being accurate. So I use this Thickit by NYX, the shade Auburn, just to define the actual brow hairs. Maybe you've seen me do this in in other videos. So if you have not seen those videos, please tune in and watch those. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to be going in with my bronzer to do some defining of my nose, and I'll be using one of these brushes, one of the smaller brushes, and this brush is, let's see what it's recommended for. It's a blending brush for eyeshadow, but I'll be using it to just define my nose. Again, just going with a small amount of this. And just blend it out. This I don't do on a daily basis. This I'm not going to be doing when I'm going to work, but just for the purpose of utilizing the brushes, I'm going to be showing you what I do. All right, and then just blend, blend, blend. Then I use the same brush just to get a little bit of powder. Tap, 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 down the middle. A little bit on the side. And then I use my beauty blender or my sponge, because it's a real cosmetics sponge, and just tap it in so that it's not so defined and obvious. All right. And I do still wear my mask in public, so this is not terribly important for me at this point in time to do. All right, so I'm going to go in with some blending of eyeshadows, and today I'll be using the Wet n Wild palette just to do a light eyeshadow. So I'll go in with the same brush that I just used for my nose. I actually use my bronzer as the base for this look. So I'm gonna go in with this, and you can do that. You don't actually need to buy any eyeshadow palettes, guys. Your bronzer for your everyday look is a good thing to use, and just blend it in. It's a nice natural look, nothing fussy. So you don't need anything more than 3-4 brushes. You really don't need the full set. All right, and just blend it in. You don't need all the things that you see to do to look put together. It's a few brushes and a few items. You don't need all the things that you see everybody purchasing just to break the bank. I'm going to put a little bit of shimmer on, and I'm going to be using this shade today. It's a goldy looking shade, so we'll just use this flat brush. And as you can see, it's a flat brush. You just tap it in. And what it does, the same as your finger, you can use your finger for this, or you can use this brush. Again, see, you don't actually need any brushes for this, so you can use your finger. So I'll use the brush on one eye, and I'll use my finger on the other eye. So there you go. And so I'll clean that up with this same brush just to blend it out. All right. Let's put a little bit more. All right. And then with the other eye, I'm just gonna use my finger to apply. See, just dip my finger in. So you have the same effect as a brush. So if you're not able to afford all these brushes, you just really need the foundation brush. You need this blending brush. You don't actually need a flat brush. You can buy them individually or as a set, but this set is really affordable. You can have all the pieces, but if you can't afford all the pieces, you need a good foundation brush. You need a good blending brush. You need a brush. The foundation brush, again, you use for your concealer. So that's it really. You just don't have to break the bank to be able to do a beautiful face. All right, today I'll be doing just a little bit of sealing in the products with this Wet n Wild contouring palette, and I'm just going to be using this flat brush. Normally a nice fluffy brush, but this set didn't come with a fluffy brush. I'm going to be using this flat brush just to seal the products in. Because I'm going out, it's a hot day, and you tend to have, I'm just using this one to just seal. And one may say, oh, that's a lot of products. But sometimes when it's a hot day, you just need to seal the products in nicely so that you don't sweat your makeup off. So I'm just going in with the lighter side just to put back the brightness back in my face. And this is a really affordable palette. It's probably about $4 or $5. It's on the shelf in Walmart. Again, you can get it on Amazon. All right, now I'll be using a little bit of a blush. Today I'll be using this Milani Big Brush in the shade Luminosa. It's a nice springy summer color. And I'll be using the same flat brush that I used to seal my makeup with, just to do. It gives a nice sheen and a nice color to your face. Tend to put a little bit down my nose and just here, just to add a little color. All right, so that's, guys, a very affordable set of brushes, and all I used were these 1, 2, 3, 4. I used the rounded brush for my foundation and concealer. I used this angled brush for my bronzer. I utilized this blending brush for my eyeshadow and for contouring my nose. And I used this flat brush for my eyeshadow as well to place the shimmer. So all you really need are these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brushes, and you need less. If you are not able to afford, you can eliminate this brush, you can eliminate this brush and just use these 3. So again, these tools help to apply your makeup beautifully. You can use your hand to apply your liquid foundation. You can use whatever you have. But again, these tools help to apply it beautifully. So here you have the finished product. All right, so here's the finished product, guys. I went and just put my hair up and applied a little bit of mascara. Today I used the Maybelline Colossal mascara, and I applied a little bit of a lip gloss and it's from NYX. It's a butter gloss. All right, so here you have it, how I use the utensils for makeup, in particular brushes. All right, guys, thanks again for watching and have a wonderful day. Like, share, and subscribe, and do come back. Bye.